Well, hello, everyone. I'm excited about today's conversation. This is my first time meeting our guest today, so I look forward to getting to know Marcus along with all the listeners. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what is it like to be a new health information professional. Also, Marcus, this is kind of a second set of education in the healthcare space that he chose. So he chose us as a grown-up, which is awesome. And so I'm going to read Marcus's bio and introduce you, and then we're going to talk about what his journey has been like, and hopefully encourage some students and new professionals along the way here. So Marcus Hubbard holds a master's degree in health information informatics management from the UT Health Science Center, and a bachelor's degree in information technology, specializing in software development. His career commenced in restaurant management immediately after high school. However, his true passions lay in technology and healthcare. Motivated by these interests, Marcus decided to invest his savings in further education. He informed his newlywed wife of his plan to return to school, while also taking on the responsibility of caring for their children. Balancing family responsibilities with earning 2 degrees and transitioning into a new career path proved very challenging, but ultimately rewarding. Marcus's dedication to healthcare led him to pursue a master's degree in this field at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, known for its esteemed program and the opportunity to take the RHIA exam. The experience was not only valuable for the knowledge he gained, but also for the professional connections he established, including one with Seth Johnson, my co-host, on HIPcast. Since completing his studies, Marcus has embarked on a gratifying career with Common Spirit Health, specifically within CHI St. Joseph's Medical Group in Lexington, Kentucky. As a quality project coordinator, he aims to contribute to the evolving healthcare industry with his innovative ideas and concepts. Welcome, Marcus. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, Seth and Dr. Shannan.
Absolutely, and it is funny. I think about that. Sometimes I still feel like I'm a 14-year-old kid inside, and it's like to hear that I was a mentor to a student, and it's like, really, like I'm a mentor to a student, but
you were the best mentor.
So I guess I should publicly apologize for any advice that I gave you as a mentor through the UT program, Marcus. This is the official public apology for anything that I may have said or led you astray in as you entered into the HI industry.
No apology needed. I appreciate you always.
We had some really fun conversations. Our text chain was always fun as you went through school, and then as you started to embark on your HI journey, your HI profession, and moving into this field that Shannan and I passionately advocate for and want to promote. So the first question that we like to ask is to tell us about your HI journey a little bit before HIIM school. I guess there's 2 I's in there now. It's still HIM school to me. But tell us about that journey and how you ended up in the role that you are in today.
Okay. So fresh out of high school, it seems forever ago, like you said, in my early 20s, I instantly got a restaurant management job, but I was offered an opportunity to join the local cardiology office. There, and other duties as assigned, really was vast, and I really fell in love with it. I'm just in all directions. I saw how technology really just improved things, and this was during the time of the world was going more electronic in early 2000s. I made their electronic forms, but then restaurant pulled me back for a good decade. And I finally, like Dr. Shannan had said in the biography, that I just really wanted to get back into it because I have such a passion for technology. Seth found out through our threads. I'm a very problem solver, and I think technology can solve a lot of problems along with people. So I researched, I got my bachelor's degree in information technology and software development with the emphasis that I wanted to carry that on into healthcare. Healthcare with nowadays is very data driven. So it just was natural for me to go into a program like United University of Tennessee Health Science Center for their HIM program, because it was really in depth with the data. I love the data aspect of it. SQL, R. I mean, I could go on forever about that. I love my technology. Once I got in there, I felt like I was that technology person in a healthcare field, and they didn't know who to stick me with. So that's when Seth Johnson came into my life.
Lucky you, I will say, lucky you. He thinks differently, right?
He thinks outside the box with the
Yes.
technology aspect also, which I really appreciated. And it was a great mentorship. And he helped me with my thesis, which I'll talk about later on for my future ideas. But it really helped me get established, and Common Spirit saw that. And when I interviewed for them, they were really impressed with what I had to offer and the knowledge I could come in with. And just since then, my role has gone from a quality project coordinator back to and other duties as assigned.
Oh, yeah.
Project after project. That is one thing that I've really come to find a love about, is just the projects within the healthcare world. You have these large projects that you break into small milestones and accomplish a feat that overall just helps patient care out.
All right, I got to follow up real quick on that. That's not prepared, because that's what Shannan and I do.
You're welcome.
I'm curious, because the intended audience of today's episode is probably the student, the person that's considering a second career, the person that's in the restaurant management role, that's looking at healthcare going, I could make a difference. Why health information? Was it truly just the data aspect and the combination of the two? What advice would you give somebody that's listening to this that potentially is in that same position going, I want to do healthcare, but patients are yucky? And I'm curious of that advice.
So I chose healthcare because I am a problem solver at heart, and I like to think in the future. And this was prior to COVID happening. And I said, what if the world stopped would keep going? And in my head, I thought food, but come to find out after COVID, food got eliminated. You couldn't.
Interesting. Yeah.
Truly,
Wow.
healthcare, when you turn off everything, has to continue.
Mm-hmm.
So that shaped my decision I could have gone into more software development, could have gone this direction, business intelligence, but healthcare never turned off, not once during COVID. It continuously went on, and that was something for job security, a growing field that is just ever expanding. And it just was a for sure decision for me, just for my family, for my education, and for my future.
That's a fantastic answer.
It is. I mean, job security, right? Number one, it's going to keep going, and people are still going to need help. And
Absolutely.
So if you like solving problems, whether it's data driven from analytics or it's researching a medical record to make sure it's complete, and telling a patient's story and codification, still data driven, just a different component than what you're kind of working in. So that's a great answer. I love it. So I'm curious about how, as a new health information professional who is learning, right, who was learning the ropes and trying to understand your role as other duties as assigned, as well as being this quality coordinator, right, this project manager essentially over quality things. How do you balance getting kind of ingrained and nailed down into the culture of a health information professional while also continuously learning, because we're a profession of continual learning? So how do you balance operationally managing your role, but also looking into the future and learning new things?
Great question. I was very fortunate enough for my very first job to be in administration. So I'm not in the clinic level seeing patients every day. I'm on the outer perspective looking in, and I am just surrounded. A big thing in school I learned about was interpersonal connections, different people in different aspects, their knowledge coming together, working together. And then just the solution that comes from that is greater than if I would approach something individually. So I have a clinical nurse across from me. I have a president down the hall from me, a manager of applications, the president of the South region. And we once a week come together, and they're my cohort think tank, and I can bounce ideas off them or ask them questions. And if we don't know it, I have a great organization where I can just click a button, I write an email. Hey, can you help me? Click a button. Hey, can you help me? Sometimes you get an answer, and sometimes people, it gets lost in emails. But for the most part, it was just glorious for me to join an organization that has learning available, opportunities available. You want to learn AI? We have a wonderful AI. It's called Insightly. We actually have been mentioned in recent magazines. Do you want to learn more about it? Here's an opportunity. So even though learning still is needed in my field, I learn while I'm at work. So it's a win-win for me.
That's
Takes a
awesome.
village.
I want to say I know you used the word glorious. I think you used the word lovely. Just for any student out there who might be in the grind today, you will eventually get to glorious and lovely. just want to say, if you're in the grind and you're in that last semester, or if you're in your first semester and you're thinking, what the heck have I done? It will be glorious and lovely one day.
So while I was in school, I have all these little notes on my side, and this is one of them. It says, "No one is going to do it for you except you." That's my quote. If you want to change your future, you can do it. Someone will feel sorry for you and want you to change your future, but you have to do it. It could be a grind right now, but I promise you, it gets so much better. And time goes by no matter what. So you can either accomplish something or just sit by and complain about it. So grinding was the only way to go.
Absolutely.
I think that plays well into the young student, that plays well into the second career person that's thinking, what are we going to do? One of the biggest things that I always talk to students about is you're not going to come out of school and be the vice president of whatever. The first job I took was a supervisor position in the medical records department, managing indexing and scanning back in the Stone Ages. And it was a great place to learn. Did I make a fortune doing that? No. My wife and I made, she was in nursing school and I was working in the indexing scanning area, and we were eating 555 brown bag specials from Sonic. Not a sponsor yet, but happy to take on Sonic as a sponsor if they would. But you got to get in there and learn. You got to go in there and hit the grind and find your niche inside of healthcare, because there are so many places within healthcare that an HI professional can go. And to expand a little bit on your comment about the diversity of the team that you sit around, that's a fantastic thing, right? That's not everybody has that access to such a strong group of diverse leaders. One of the things that I always enjoyed in leadership was talking about the iceberg of ignorance, right? We all really only know about 4% of our specific area.
Yep.
And the next person knows 4% of their specific area. That's what's above the water in the grander look at the problem of what we're trying to solve. So you need all of these professionals. You need all of these disciplines to come together and bring a picture of what we can do to make healthcare better in the U.S. and globally, and ultimately just for the general patient that doesn't know how to navigate this crazy system that we have called healthcare.
Yeah.
Something that I'm very optimistic about it. Your hardest problem in your life, any student watching, if you think about it, you overcame it, you're through it, it's over with. No matter what, you get through every problem. Same with school right now. You're going to get through it. And before you know it, it's going to be a past memory.
That's right. Yeah. And as you said, the time is going to pass. Whether you move forward or sit still, time passes no matter whether you move or not.
Might as well pass it rewardingly. Right?
That's right.
Yeah. Did you think about when you ever look back at what you were doing beforehand from a restaurant perspective and think, my life could have gone so many different directions, but because I made this one decision at this one moment in time, it took off in a different direction? I don't know. That's more of a philosophical question, but
I think if I wouldn't have chased money into restaurant management, then I would have stayed in healthcare. And I would be at least coming up on 20 years, tenure in. And just me and I'm very ambitious, I don't know where I would be, whether it be a director role or some other consulting role. But I don't regret anything just because it helped shape me for the mindset I have now. Because if I would have just stayed in my one career, I would have not have the appreciation I do now.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for asking him that question, Seth, because I actually was having a conversation last night. It must have been 10:30 or 11 o'clock Eastern time, and I was talking.
I was in bed.
Well, I was talking. I had a big day yesterday, so I was like grinding yesterday. But I was having a great conversation with a reasonably newer health information management professional, and she's a shining star. Her name is Shelley, and we were talking about people's path, health information professionals' paths. And we were talking about one of our other friends, Angela, who is she understands her goals. She knows that I want to be this person, this role, and here are the steps she's taking to get there. And that's awesome. And I try to encourage and support that however she needs me to. And this other Shelley is more of I don't really know yet where I want to be. And I'm like, you know what? I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Both are okay as long as you continue to learn, continue to earn, and continue to make yourself available for networking and for opportunities. You're going to get there. You don't necessarily have to understand your goal. Just like Marcus is talking about, he's ambitious, but he didn't really know where he wanted to be in healthcare. He just knew he liked it. But he's ambitious, so he needed the money for his family, whatever his view of was, security for his family. So he chose that. Now he's back in healthcare because it's obviously a passion for him. Still doesn't know where he wants to land, I think. And I think that's okay, Marcus. I think this is great advice for students.
I think with anyone, though, yourselves included, with a knowledge gaining every day, you really don't know the path you're going to take. You might learn tomorrow, Seth, that he loves AI and wants to become an AI consultant. Like, you pivot as the day approaches you. And that's just the way I've always approached it. And I've just loved the aspect of, at any given time in healthcare, there's always a pivot available.
There is a pivot available. And I want to dig into another topic there that, again, this is probably this is not our normal conversation, but for students and young professionals, it's probably something important, or at least it is to me. Maybe, we can edit this out later on if it's terrible, but you said you were chasing money, and that's such a trap that people fall into, especially young professionals. They start chasing money and they find themselves in a position, a job, that maybe they make a ton of money, but it's not what they're passionate about. It's not what they enjoy, and they don't find contentment in life chasing money. Yes, we got to pay the bills, but that stuff happens, right? But there's something to be said about not chasing a salary, but as Shannan, you mentioned, talking about another young professional that is chasing a passion. They know where they want to be. Yes. And they look at that pathway of, how do I find the education? How do I work my way through an organization to get to the position or the passion that I want to be in as a career for happiness and contentment?
Absolutely.
Same as healthcare, we got to stop chasing quantity and chase quality.
Ooh.
Are you trying to go from features? Ooh. You guys, come on, Marcus. We don't have time.
There we go.
What are you talking about? No, but you're absolutely right.
But same with for any student, because I was the same way, and Seth knows this, and any student, a job will come along. It truly will. Everyone stresses out about finding a job. If I can sum it up in one thing, there is a perfect job out there. There's over 10 million jobs postings. There's no way you're going to be able to find that perfect job unless you truly know what you're passionate about and want to search for. Find out what you want to search for. I promise you, there is a job out there that will match you.
I think that's an interesting aspect as well, because students tend to get, I know I did, anxiety of, I'm coming to the end of this education aspect. Now the anxiety is building of, well, now the expectation is I've got to have a job, right? I got to pay these student loans, or I've got to pay for the bills. I have to take that next step. Let's go down that rabbit hole a little bit around anxiety of finding a job. What was that experience like for you as you came towards the end of the education side and you're like, all right, now I've got to switch modes from homework assignments and projects to I got to go find a job, and I've got to go out there and see what I want to do.
It was legitimately probably a couple hundred no's. I mean, you throw out those resumes, applications, you're a new student. We need someone with tenure. We need someone who's had past experience. You've come from, people will give you every reason why they don't want you. When I went for my interview, an interview is a dual interview, always in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I had a list of questions out that I asked, even though I really love my job, I interviewed them, even though I needed that job and I wanted that job. I wasn't going to just take any job, like you said, because I had chased quantity. I was now after the quality. So I had my list of questions. Is it flexible? Do I have time off with my family? Like you said, it's the other aspects beyond money that really can create a job. Are the people here worth working with? Are we going to get along?
Mm-hmm.
These are very important questions that you have to ask when you're searching for a job. Do I even match these people? Like, that is a big question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good, Marcus. Also, I think for young professionals to think about it from when you look at anytime you go for a job interview, you should find out what the mission, vision, and values of that organization are, especially in healthcare. When you look then at the job description for which you're applying, can you tie that role to the mission, vision, and values in a way that makes you feel like you are contributing? That's where you're going to find purpose, right? You're going to be committed to that or not. And if you're not and you're desperate and you need the job, and you get an offer, you might want to take the job so that you have that security, right? But you also need to start working toward how can I realign my role to meet the mission, vision, and values, which I agree with, or how can I stay true to my own, moral code or worldview or whatever it is, and also still work here to meet the organizational requirements of my role. So there's also some personal, if we're talking about value and we're talking about money and fulfillment, you got to have some of all of that. It's got to be a complete picture, and understanding too, as a student entry level, you're not always going to have both of those things. Because you don't know yet what you don't know.
That's very good that you said that, because your previous, I believe, few interviews ago, she spoke on that, the organization's mission statement. Like, that is a very big thing.
It is.
Yeah, the interesting thing there about the entry level position is a key aspect that a lot of students and probably second career professionals may struggle with, because they have done well in another career, but they want to change, whether that's a forced change or it's just a passion that they're following. But then to go into an entry level position is sometimes a tough pill to swallow for a second career person. But I think the encouragement here is it's okay. It's okay to take that pill, get that entry level position, because, something I shared with Marcus when he was coming out of school, it's much easier to find a job when you have a job. You get into that anxiety loop and cycle as a professional trying to find that passion. Well, it may not be the initial thing you do, but it's much easier to find a job once you have a job. And something that Marcus and I talked about is, an employer, the size of the employer that he works for is massive, right? They're an incredibly good organization, and there are so many opportunities to go down once you have your foot in the door, or at this point, once you have your rear end in a seat, right? It's a lot easier to start learning about the other people that are in the department, the other people that are in the organization, and move around. And it's a great opportunity for young students that I talk to. Go take that entry level job. Go get your foot in the door. Learn about the organization. Learn about the career path that you want to go into. If I would have taken a coding job initially out of school, I would have learned a lot, and I would have still been miserable because I'm not a coder. That's not my world, right? But it's still something that I had an opportunity to go into coding right out of school, and I was seriously considering it, because it's like, well, it's a entry level spot. It can get my foot in the door. It's a job. My wife and I we were engaged at the time, and it's like, I'm realizing I've got to take care of this family that I'm about to create. And you got to take advantage of anything that comes across, and then you can launch from there, right? These organizations are massive. But Marcus, I do want to I do want to go back to our mentor-mentee days as we come around the mountain here and we start going towards the end. You did great during HIIM school. You launched into a career with a fantastic organization. You're learning quite a bit. You're an HI professional in the healthcare environment.
I know it's
But yet you have not done one thing that I encouraged you to do, which is to take your exam for your credential in the HIM industry. So one, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you, why haven't you taken that exam? And then I want you to expand from there and talk about, as a new professional, where do you see the HI profession going in 5, 10, 15 years?
Great question. It truly is. And any student who is debating to take the exam, I statistically break things down, being a data guy. I wanted to, I had done school back to back to back to back to back. So I wanted to give myself an opportunity just to go into a new career and learn what they had to offer me, which it was very good that I have delayed the RHI exam, because as soon as I went in, something they don't teach you in school. I had to teach myself Epic. I had to teach myself Midas, a variety of different programs and platforms that they used, which now I'm become more of a subject matter expert for them. And I don't think if I had the bandwidth in my mind upstairs while studying for another exam that I would have been as successful as I currently am in my career. Also,
I think that's a fair response.
The pivot.
I will say that's fair.
I thought it was a little fair. I didn't know if I was. I love my alphabet soup, and I want to get that at the end of my name. But I also didn't know if I was going to pivot straight into a doctor program. So I was going to keep that available. But my wife told me she might kill me if I went into that.
I understand. I do.
That's on my back burner. I still want to finish a doctoral program, but
Seth and I will push you for that. So now I have your email address. Seth and I will constantly berate. We will really just berate you and say, go to school, go to school, go to school. We just keep peer pressuring our friends to do it.
That's right.
I've left it open for a couple of years because I'm seeing with the introduction of AI, new career and programs come up. There's a doctoral program for AI in healthcare that's becoming available. And I really want them to iron out maybe like a year's worth of mistakes before I jump into a program like that. But like I told Seth, I currently work with, I am very beneficial to work with coders and people who are RHIAs on my team or in the organization. I've reached out to them, asked them what I can do to study. So I have that there when I'm available to start studying again, but that I definitely need to knock that out. As far as where do I see health profession moving in, that would go back towards my thesis, which absolutely, I don't understand why we don't have a unique patient identifier. Over the next 10 years, especially with AI being incorporated, a decentralized, unique patient identifier that carries a patient record in real time, real interoperability, real data being just viewed. Your provider gets real time results. They can real time, everything in real time is what I see the HI profession transitioning into. That being backed up by artificial intelligence, of course. It's going to take AI a little bit to get into healthcare. It's so hard to audit it, validate it. I mean, and there's so many unknowns when you have something performing at so many trillions a second that you got to go slow with it. You truly do.
So I want to follow up a little bit about the RHIA, because there are, I don't know what the percentages are these days with students who finish a program and then they don't sit for they're eligible, but they don't sit for that RHIA exam. And I remember back, it may have been around the time of stage 1 meaningful use of electronic health records in 2011-12. It might predate that a little. I can't remember, but CMS basically took out the requirement of conditions of participation from Joint Commission's perspective to have a health information credentialed person, RHIT or RHIA, leading a health information department. I think that was the initial slide for the folks that, stopped doing, stopped sitting for the exam. That's where it started to probably taper. And I don't have data for that, but I've seen it before, and I think that's true. It diminished the value. Now, there are some states that still require that health information credential. It's a state level decision to require that to lead a health information management department. My excitement and maybe a little bit of concern about this is with the onset of AI advancing, how fast technology is just, the next iteration is coming faster and faster, which is incredible. But my thoughts are a seasoned health information professional with that HIPcast accredited education where we get down into the depths of, health information and what all that means. We've been governing that for 97 years, I think. So I think this year's 97 years maybe. But it's a long time. So my thoughts are that credential plus the specialized certifications that say, I am skilled in AI, or I am skilled in data governance, or I'm skilled in informatics, or I am skilled in analytics, or whatever, because those are different. Those are different things. So my thoughts are, while the federal government doesn't require it for condition of participation, health information professionals are so vast and they're in so many different roles now. There are some things that I feel like that has to be a requirement. Somehow we got to work that back in.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you as a student, if there were an additional 5 weeks requirement on your educational track, if somehow they worked this in where that is study prep and they have a in unison RHIT exam, everybody goes the same day, you're proctoring at the school, whatever it is, do you think you would have been more likely to complete that exam? And I ask because I wonder, can programs put this into place where we're going to do it and it's part of the requirement for you to finish this program and walk is that you have to at least sit for the exam?
Absolutely. I think in a corporation, RHIT, RHIA, a beginning exam, a middle exam, and like you said, a final exam being you graduate the program and you graduate with a certification in RHIA. That would be a part of graduating that program. Same as you come out of becoming an MD. I come out with my HIPcast thing, but like you said, it would be even better if that RHIA specialized was next to it, just to say, hey, I went through that program, but I went that extra step and I specialized in this exam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good.
That's a good look towards the future of what we need to do from an education perspective, is integrate that in and integrate some of those specialty certifications in. Yeah, it's kind of what the trades do, right? From a welding and plumbing and whatnot, you do your education, your apprenticeship, and you come out certified after a certain amount of time. So
yeah, we take coding 1 and coding 2 and A&P and all that. We take all of those things fairly early in this curriculum. So if you could take the exams for those entry level, like, a CCA or whatever, you get these steps and that counts toward the coding component of your RHIT or RHI exam. That might help where, you know what I mean? You're stepping through that.
I wish that would be wonderful if they broke the exam up, you pass, and then those together pass you the overall exam, because I'm focusing on my thesis at the end of my program and I really want to knock it out of the park.
Right.
Do I need to focus on my thesis or study for my exam also? Which one do I want to do? I want to graduate. And that would be a barrier I could see students facing.
That's awesome. Well, Marcus, thank you so much. This has been inspiring to me even. You are, the folks who are coming up or who are reasonably new in the profession always inspire anyone who's willing to grow no matter where they are. So if you are a mature, north of 50, or if you are and new to the profession or seasoned, this is a great conversation, not only for us to consider what things that we could maybe look at differently, but also how do we use this to encourage other folks who either are new to the profession and young, or they're starting a second type of career. Maybe it's even still in healthcare, but it's a second career within healthcare. So we have a lot of opportunity to encourage people. And Marcus, your story's great. Thank you for joining. And Seth, thanks for bringing Marcus. I have never met Marcus, so I'm glad to now have a new person in my network.
Yep.
Thank you all so much for the invite. And like always, I'm always here if y'all ever need anything, or any future student. If you have a question, I'm here.
That's awesome.
All right. Good deal. Well, thanks, Marcus and Shannon. Until next time, my friend.
See you next time, buddy.